Hi and welcome to Chairman's Chats. My guest this week is Henry Douthwaite. How are you, Henners?
I'm very well, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And
Hello there, viewers.
how does it feel to be on the other side of the interview?
Well, difficult because as a professional, I always pretend to be someone else. So when it's when the camera's actually on me as a person, it's unsettling and unnerving.
Okay. Well, you'll have to help me out if I start to falter. Just to highlights of your season, maiden half century against Greyswood. How did that feel?
Well, it's finally a box tick. At the beginning of the year, there was no thought process into how well I was going to do with the bat. It was, right, I did all right with the ball last year. Let's see if I can do a bit better. That clearly wasn't happening early doors, so I thought, let's focus on batting. And little did I know, but...
Did you think it was your day?
Midway through, but I hit a few boundaries early on, and then it was just runs ticking over.
10 fours, 1 6.
And well, the
strike rate of 81. 60 of 85 balls, what's going on?
The four I hit from 44 to get to 48 was a reverse sweep. And I think it was it was one of the only ones that I middled. So it was at that point where I thought, yeah, today's going all right.
Okay.
Today's going all right.
And are you enjoying opening the batting?
Loving it. I'm surprised that I didn't do it before. Although Bikram is now telling me there is technique, different technique for opening batsmen to batsman number 4 and 5. Which I knew anyway, but I'm only now starting to realise exactly what that means. Yeah. So it is leaving the new ball. It's not knowing when to leave it, not trying to hit absolutely everything.
Mm-hmm. I was going to mention your ramp shot, but I think you've mentioned it so much. In fact, you're the only...
Have I? But
yes, you have. So I'll tell you what, you are the only player I know who's been nominated for a Syrup Award, and the season hasn't even started for next year. Are you coming back to bowling next year, I suppose? Because you haven't really bowled that much this year, have you? You might have done for the stage, you haven't done for Phoenix.
I call it, I've got the yips. I've got the... Stage... so Stage is my second club. Or third club, I should say, but because I play for the Prince of Wales as well, which is how I first met Baz and Rosie. Mm-hmm. But stage-wise, well, I sort of do a bit of both because we all play infrequently together. People forget what each other does. There are the core players who know each other, and then there's people that come in for little games here, little games there, like myself, and it's like, well, what do you do again? But I've actually played all right with the bat for them this year, so I'm.
You got 3 for 22 against Ashford for us, though, didn't you? In that friendly with the ball.
Yeah, but
6 for 26 on Falcon last year.
That was a lucky day. That was a day when things just went right. My first spell was. Terrible. I think after the first spell I was 1 for 25 and the second spell was 5 for 1.
That's how to do it.
Clean up the table.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, I choose to do these things when front box isn't on.
Yeah, well, that's...
Where's the sense in that?
You can always elaborate on how good the wicket was, can't you? Stump out the ground and that kind of...
Or how tough the wicket was. You wouldn't have believed it. Such a struggle to bat or such a struggle to bowl on.
So Wilfred then, your son, is now playing for the Phoenix. Is he enjoying it?
He's loving it. He's loving it. Yeah, we're obviously in the States where, because we're still a very new club, we don't know whether we've got an under-13s team next year. So if you're have a child who's in the under-13 bracket, is looking to join a new club, consider us because... Yeah,
come play for Phoenix.
Play for the Phoenix.
He bowls nice and straight as well. He hasn't got the yips.
No, he hasn't got the yips. He's he's loving it. And for his first year, he's doing brilliantly well. Long may it continue. He loves playing. It's just how do we get him games next year?
How do we nurture him? Absolutely. First visit to the Oval for him this year as well, wasn't it?
Oh, and Lords.
Oh, really? Oh, we did both, did it?
Great. That's where we took the pictures for the 100.
Yes, yes.
He did both, and but we prefer the Oval.
Yeah, I know.
There's I don't know. It's just got a feel to it that we prefer.
Feels a bit like home, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So we all know you as the character Henners from Behind the Boundaries, but you are actually a trained actor by profession, are you not? How did you first get into that?
I've always done it. It's not a question of getting into it. From a very, very early age, I was performing, and it was a natural thing just to go into shows in school, and it gradually materialised because I wasn't particularly great at school. But the thing that I was always doing was performing. And so when there was a play on, it was how do I get involved in that? When I was in the younger years, it was a smaller role, and then as I got older, the roles got bigger, until it got to sixth form, and it was sort of, what do I do? What do I do now? And everyone was saying just audition for drama school, and I got in, so there's just been a gradual progression where I've always done it.
And what was the first part you played?
In what?
What's the first most memorable part you played?
The most memorable part? I was a mouse in a little school. Oh God, what would that have been? I probably would have been about 7 in some Christmas show. Yeah, I remember the tights were really, really itchy. Let's
hope we can recreate this year for the Phoenix Panto show.
Phoenix Panto.
Yeah, Phoenix Panto. Can you get a nice tights? Oh no, you can't.
Alan Doyle is the Dame.
Yeah. Could be Francesco because his name.
Oh,
so you've played Hamlet as well, I believe. Is that not right?
That's amazing. It's amazing. The thing about it was when I heard, you hear all these actors who've played it saying, "Oh, it's such an honour," and you always, I always looked at them and, should we say, not terms of endearment into my head, but when you actually play it, you suddenly realise what they mean.
You're going to give us some Hamlet then. Give us some Hamlet. I'll do it with H this time. Hamlet, not Hamlet.
I have of late, yet wherefore I know not, lost all my mirth, forgone all custom of exercises. And indeed it goes so heavily with my disposition that this goodly frame the earth seems to me a sterile promontory, this most excellent canopy the air. Look you, this brave o'erhanging firmament, this majestical roof fretted with golden fire. Yet it appears... oh God, that's forgotten.
That's okay. That's brilliant, mate. That's brilliant. That's your Hamlet. Ever smoked their cigars? Have you? I have. That's my Hamlet. There we are.
Happiness.
Yeah. Happiness is a cigar called Hamlet. The mum cigar from Beds and Hedges, wasn't it?
I could have done
Yeah. So I also saw you dressed as John Major the other day. Mm-hmm. What was all that about?
That is something that my brother-in-law is producing for Channel 5 on Scandals. Scandal. I think it's not just within politics; it's within media as well. So it's a four-part series.
Oh wow, that's going to be interesting, isn't it? Have you got the voice?
I don't speak in it. It's all literally background bits and pieces. So, but I tell you what, I think John Major is the forgotten about politician. I don't know. Politics, let's leave it.
Let's leave it
but
there.
He loves cricket.
Oh, he does love cricket.
He does love cricket,
yes. So your voice is also in demand for the audiobooks that you do. That must be pretty time consuming.
Very time consuming, but the nice thing about it is when I'm not working, in between jobs, I can now say I'm working because I'm doing an audiobook.
That's true. And would you recommend one that we should listen to?
Well, it depends whether what your interest is in. If you're interested in cricket, viewers, I have done one called Childish Ways by a lovely chap called Fran Gabaldoni, who grew up playing cricket with his brother. But it's a lovely reflection on his childhood, plus a family situation he had to deal with later in life. So there is a real nice juxtaposition between the charm of childhood and the difficulties in adulthood. I won't go too much into it, but it's Baz has listened to it and it brought him to tears. So,
Good Lord. Okay, fair enough. As a club, we've been busy this year. You attended with a number of us Disabilities Day at the Oval, and you renamed it Abilities Day. What impression did it have on you that day?
Well, it was just nice to see cricket being accessible, which it is. It's a sport that is accessible, and as we've seen with different formats, it's adaptable. So there's no reason as to why it shouldn't be accessible to people with different abilities.
We certainly saw a lot on display.
Yeah, very much so. And yeah, it was just nice to see that the Oval used 360 in different capacities.
Also, I was surprised there because I caught you signing there. You were using sign language and chatting to a deaf person. How on earth has that come about?
Well, I did a film a few years ago called Cruel Peter, which is on Amazon. You can view it if you wish, viewer. But yeah, so for that, I was playing a father with a deaf daughter. And so I had to learn a smattering of it. And when I learnt it, I came back to the UK because we filmed it out in Italy. I decided that I was going to do a little more. So I did a couple of courses. I did my level 1 and level 2. Unfortunately, since lockdown, I haven't used it as much as I should have done, so I've forgotten quite a bit of it. But
you had a conversation, haven't you?
I knew enough. I know enough to have a broken conversation with someone who is deaf.
And you also interviewed the international legend.
That is Hassan Khan.
That is the great character that is Hassan Khan. How did that go?
Oh,
because we were over dinner at that.
Yeah, the guy's just amazing, and it's nice. We've seen him 2 or 3 times now. We didn't, unfortunately, get to co-commentate on a blind cricket match or visually impaired cricket match, but hopefully that's something that will happen in the future. I guess it's just finding one that we can set up Frogbox with and then just sit and have a chat, and because there's not enough representation on TV. One of the podcasts I've been listening to and watching is called the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, which is great because it has made West Indies cricket far more accessible and keeps people who are interested in cricket up to date. And I think that needs, I'd personally like to see that more moved over to visually impaired cricket and deaf cricket. People, like I said, people with different abilities. I think there generally needs to be more representation. Even if it's just, so much is available on YouTube now. I think it would be great to have matches that are available to watch. There's no reason why they can't be either.
True.
So, yeah.
What can we expect from Behind the Boundary next year?
Well, hopefully a lot more than this year. I didn't do enough this year, but I don't think I'm going to be playing as much next year because we had our Frogbox issues this year, and I want to try my best to eradicate them next year, which will mean I'm going to spend more time at home matches, so I may not be playing as many. But
we're going to nail it.
Yeah, gonna nail it because it's fun and it's something that we do, which, and there are plenty of other clubs out there that do it, but they the highlights packages and the commentary, I think, is something that gives us something a little extra. There's people have to watch village cricket for a reason, and we're trying to give them a reason to watch village cricket because it's not the most appealing cricket. There's some of
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. Well, so there's there's got to be a character to it, and we provide that character.
There has to be a character. That's right. So. Yeah. I've got some quick fire questions for you. Okay. One day cricket or test match?
Test.
Field at point or square leg?
Point.
Captain or vice captain?
Vice.
Rather face Cam or BJ?
Oh, Cam swings it in. BJ can swing it both ways. It depends. Is it the new ball?
It's just an either or, isn't it?
It's neither. I think Cam will bowl with the new ball. Alan uses BJ on first change, and by that time, with these Ianson balls, they've usually lost their swing. So
it's a quick fire question. That isn't a quick fire answer.
All right, that's not a quick fire answer. I never face BJ. So
okay.
I've only faced Cam,
okay.
and this year I didn't do too badly against Cam, so I'll say Cam.
Okay. Ash or DHG as the umpire when batting?
DHG.
Yeah. Okay.
It depends what mood he's in though.
It's upsetting. So if I could offer you your dream role in a film now, what would that be?
Indiana Jones.
Oh, really?
I remember being at a show up in Edinburgh a few years ago. It was Mischief Theatre, who are known for doing the play that goes wrong up in town, and they were doing something called Lights, Camera, Improvise. And they, because it was Edinburgh, there was chiefly actors in the audience watching them, and they said, right, shout out the role that you would most like to play after 3, 1, 2, 3, and both myself and the guy sitting next to me, who was also an actor, we both at the same time went, Indiana Jones, and I got as close to playing him as I could have done in that Cruel Peter, because the character was an archaeologist, and it was a horror film, so there was action in it. Mm-hmm. So that kind of was my Indiana Jones. But if you said if you could offer me any role,
see, I thought you were going to say James Bond or something like that.
I'm too old. I do a Bond villain though.
You could do a Bond villain. That's very true. Yeah. I'll have to be your sort of your henchman or something.
Be my Bond.
I'm more Brooke Bond, mate. I'm more the T, I think, than anything else. So okay. So who would you, if there's a film out tomorrow, Henry Douthwaite, the movie, who plays you? Who's the character that's going to play Henry Douthwaite in that film?
Someone who can understand. So I live with epilepsy. There is a film out there called Control, which is all about Ian Curtis from Joy Division, and that was it was really interesting to be able to empathise with what he went through, and I think it's got to be somebody who sorry, this is another long-winded.
I just thought you'd say George Clooney or something like that and be done with it.
No.
I want someone like Ray Winston to play me. I'll end up with Christopher Biggins.
I would not want a name. I wouldn't want a name. I would want someone who is undiscovered and probably underrepresented, and has been through some sort of struggle or hardship together, who hasn't had the pathway given to them. So
I get that.
So yeah, sorry for the long, convoluted answer.
Henry Douthwaite, thank you for your chairman chat. Come on, you Phoenix!
Come on, you Phoenix!
Come on, you Phoenix! I dare all things. Farewell.